Do you sometimes feel like your career has gone way off track, where you decided that you were going to achieve certain things and it doesn't feel like you're ever going to get there? Well, stick with me, because this week I'm going to help you to reinvigorate those feelings that you had when you set out to get where it was that you wanted to go, and then show you how to put a plan together so that you can get there. Hi, this is Grant Herbert, Leadership and Sustainable Performance Coach, and today I want to continue our conversation around the competency of intention by helping you to realign your career plans. Over this last month, we've been looking at doing things more on purpose and stepping away from that rut of just doing things day after day that turns into weeks, that turns into months, and doesn't really feel like you're on purpose. Over this period of time, we've been talking about things like values and vision and being able to clear out the trees that are in front of you so that you can actually see the forest. So what I want to do this week is finish off this conversation by actually helping you to put together a plan. You see, if you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going. And I understand that you've had plans before. And I understand that because you've had those plans before and they've all fallen apart because of circumstances, you may have even given up doing plans. You do them at work because you have to. But your life and your overall plan and your intention and your vision, they are more important, because whatever role you have in your career, that's just a part of your life. It's not above everything else in your life. So the first thing that we need to do is make sure that we revisit an understanding of how we look at what's already happened. And I've talked about that over this month, and we looked at the fact that we need to do forward-focused reflection. We need to make sure that when we're looking at the past, that we don't camp there. We actually have a quick look, just as if we were looking up in the rear vision mirror in our car, and then we put our eyes back on where we're going, that big windscreen out in front of us. And those two pieces of glass are in that proportion on purpose, because we want to make sure that most of your looking is forward where you're going. Otherwise, you're going to run into things. So let's go through a process to get ready for this plan of reflecting on where you've been over the last year, reflecting on what went well and what didn't go well. However, as I said, we're reflecting with where we're going in mind. We're not reflecting to give us more data and information to feel bad about ourselves that validates how we actually see ourselves, that identity that we've been working on. No, we just want to collect some information and go, hey, what worked well? What did I learn from that? And what can I take forward from what I learned and use it moving forward? And exactly the same thing with what didn't go well. Take the lessons that you learnt and do things differently moving forward. So reflect on where you've been. The second thing to do then is to refocus. Refocus on why you're doing what you're doing. Refocus on that overall vision and that overall mission that you have for your life, what you feel you are called to do. Refocus on the things that you need to do, but also who you need to become so that you can get there. Sometimes we lose that focus because we've got things not working well. We're stuck in some circumstances. But refocus, lifting your eyes up and going, hey, where am I going? And why was it that I wanted to go there? Gets you ready to be able to put together a plan. Once you've reflected and you've refocused, the next thing you need to do is relaunch. But relaunch with a new plan, a plan to bring things back on track. So we're not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. We're not giving up on what it is we wanted to achieve. We're just looking at different ways of getting there. We're looking at being able to break it down into bite-sized chunks. So reflect, refocus, and then relaunch. And that relaunch is exactly that. You're starting a new leg of your journey. You're not starting again. Everything that's past has been part of the process of getting where you are right now. But relaunching with a new energy and vigor because you've got in your mind again why it is that you're doing this, what's important to you, who's it going to help, and where does it fit in to your overall priorities. So now that you've done this and you understand this process, before you can relaunch, you need a new plan. So to do that, you can use what I use, and I call it the R4 method. It's a simple plan with 4 parts to it. They all start with R so that I can remember it easily. And then you can put the different elements together in that in a certain sequence, which I'm going to teach you right now. So the first thing you need to do is you need to look at where you want to go and where you want to be 12 months from now. And I call that the results. So what are the results that you want to see in your life, in your career, 12 months from now? Work out what's important to you. So those priority areas that you have looked at and those values that you have, work out for each of those where it is that you want to be. When you do that, look at it as if it's already happened. Use a narrative that is in the present tense. So to do that, you need to start by saying it is, and then fill in the date 12 months from now. So it is whatever date it is, and I have. And then explain to yourself or narrate to yourself what you see. That's really powerful, and I know it might feel a bit strange the first time you do it because you are trying to trick yourself that it's already happened. But what you're doing is you're giving your brain a picture of where you're going. So have a go. What are your results? The next thing you want to do is come back to today and go, all right, well, that's where I want to go. That's great. But where am I now? What's my reality? So whatever the things were that you put into the results side of the plan, on those same things, come back and just go, where am I now with this, this, this? And you've got a clear picture of the gap that you're going to work on the next phase of your journey. Now, being very careful as you do this to use this forward focus reflection again. Making sure that you're not getting down on yourself and going, oh, yes, I'm nowhere near where I wanted to be, and having a pity party like we do. No, you're just collecting data. You need to know what your start point is. So now that you know your start point and you know where you're going, the next thing to look at are the roadblocks. What are the things that you're currently doing or not doing that are stopping you from going from where you are now to where you want to go? What are the things that you could do or think that's going to get in the way? So there are external roadblocks as well. That's great. And you need to look at those so that you can have contingencies around them. But what we're talking about here are the things that are within your control. What are you thinking about yourself? It could be some areas within your identity that still need some work. What are the habits that you've formed? What are the things you procrastinate on? Looking at what are the roadblocks that are getting in your way. The fourth thing then to finish off this plan is to look at, well, what are the resources that I need to add so that I can overcome those roadblocks and finally get from where I am now to where I want to go. These resources are things that you need to work on in yourself. It could be development that you need. It could be mindset shifts that you need to make. It could be an overhaul of your belief structure. There's many things that it could be. So now you have a plan so that you can look at where you're going in the next leg of your journey. And that plan's over 12 months. So what you need to do then is go, well, okay, this is where I am. This is where I'm going in 12 months. But where do I want to be 90 days from now? 90 days is an amazing period of time. It is long enough away for you to stretch. And it's also close enough so that you can see the end result. So look at the whole year, but then bring it back to just a 90-day chunk. And then look at who do you need to become in that 90 days? What things do you need to do and change and shift in that 90 days so that you can kick off well on where it is you're going to be in the next 12 months. As you realign your career, all you're doing is bringing it back on track. And it's just like an aeroplane and you go on a flight. It's only ever on course twice in the entire flight. The first time it's on course is before it pulls back from the gate. And then the second time is when it pulls up at the gate in the new destination. And even though there's a flight plan, there are a series of checks and balances and shifts and adjustments that need to be made because of weather and air traffic control and all these things that can come up, things that weren't in the initial plan. So now you have a solid plan that you can embark on. You can step off and relaunch with a new excitement and vigor. And then as you come up against these internal roadblocks, you can continue to work on them. And I guarantee that if you take this on board and you do this, and if you get some support along the way, you will definitely get more out of this next 12 months than you ever have before. Well, that's it from me on this topic of intention. Join me again next week as we step into the area of professional leadership. That's that area where you do certain things to get results from your own efforts. I'll see you then.